Let me tell you something, if you've never seen three industrial-sized beasts blocking your entire life, you've never really lived. We're talking a dump truck, a bobcat, and a giant trailer crammed so tight in my garage that the door itself wouldn't even shut. Diesel fumes everywhere, $18,000 worth of my tools trapped behind literal tons of up yours, and standing there grinning like she'd just won the lottery with my soul, as the prize is Karen Whitfield, the HOA, president, clipboard raised like a scepter, all smug with her emergency powers. She leans in close, all honey and venom. Oops, garage jammed. Guess you'll obey the landscaping rules next time. Then she pivots, turning to leave victorious. What she doesn't know is I'm about to lock the garage from inside, and her gotcha face turns to sheer panic the second she realizes she's stuck banging on the door and screaming like she's seen a ghost. Here's the thing, Karen thinks she's the queen of property law, HOA regulations, even the inner workings of my garage door opener. There's just one tiny little bit of legal trivia she missed about illegal parking, about access, about how she's about to wish she'd never learned my name. Now you might wonder, what would you do if a Karen hijacked your garage and practically cackled about it? Drop your state below, because when I finally let the authorities take over, the outcome is absolutely chef's kiss. But wait, let's hit rewind 6 months earlier, actually. Because this isn't just a story about a garage, this is about how a handful of wildflowers almost ruined my life, and why standing in that diesel-choked garage was the most satisfying moment of revenge I've ever tasted. My name's Calvin Smith, 42 divorced electrician. I just bought a modest little ranch house in Pinewood Estates, thinking it'd be a great fresh start. After the disaster that was my marriage. Turns out sometimes rock bottom still has a basement, but we'll get to that. After my divorce, all I wanted was a little peace and quiet. A place close to my daughter Riley, so we could do our weekend thing. Pinewood Estates looked perfect, old school 1970s subdivision, tree-lined streets, neighbors who mostly minded their own business. But really it was the garage that sold me, big enough for my workshop, all my electrical gear, my van, everything I needed to keep my contracting business alive. Honestly, the smell of sawdust and metal in that garage, that was therapy. Riley loved helping out, organizing toolboxes, learning what a voltage meter does, the click of sockets dropping perfectly into foam cutouts, all of it. Not your average father-daughter stuff, but it worked for us. At first, the neighborhood felt just right. Retirees, working families, no one too nosy. Morning walks meant coffee brewing at sunrise, sprinkler systems, hissing the low hum of lawnmowers blending into this weirdly comforting suburban symphony. HOA dues were $85 a month, seemed fair for the basics, some landscaping keeping the entry sign from looking haunted. It was only after the tech companies moved in nearby, driving up property values, that things started to shift. Suddenly, blue-collar families were sharing streets with software engineers and their high-powered lawn guys. Most folks just rolled with it. Most, but not Karen Whitfield. Now picture Karen, pushing 60, retired insurance adjuster, has the personality of an IRS audit. Her house, biggest on Maple Street, boasts a lawn so perfect it looks fake, every blade trimmed exactly 2 inches high. She drives a white Lexus that could be on display at a dealership, never a smudge on it. Parked dead center in the driveway, as if she uses a tape measure every time. Karen's been HOA board president for 6 years. She treats it like she's the mayor of Pinewood Estates. She's got this sixth sense for weaponizing rules against anyone she doesn't like. Commercial vehicles, mailbox colors, even Christmas lights. If it's not in her vision of perfection, you get the Karen treatment. And guess who made her list? Me. Apparently, divorced electricians with wildflower gardens don't fit in her kingdom. See, all I did was plant some native wildflowers in my front yard. Not a junkyard, not a marijuana grow, just California poppies and lupines, drought-resistant, good for the bees, nice to look at. That first summer morning, sitting out front with coffee, Riley picking flowers for her room, listening to the bees, man, that was peace. 1 week later, I'm sipping coffee and Riley's arranging her little bouquet when whack, a heavy envelope hits my door. Violation notice. Fancy letterhead, shiny embossed seal. Non-conforming landscaping disrupts neighborhood harmony. I have 10 days to put down turf grass or pay a $50 daily fine. $50 a day for flowers that save me $200 a month on water. Yeah, okay, Karen. That night I dive into the HOA charter by laptop glow. Turns out there's no rule against native plants. Hell, the founding document even encourages water conservation and pollinator habitats. but aesthetic harmony means whatever Karen wants it to mean. Next morning, I call the HOA office. Karen picks up ice in her voice. Mr. Smith, the board has determined your landscaping is inappropriate for community standards. Which bylaw exactly? Long pause, teeth grinding, I swear I heard it. The general aesthetic provision. I'd like that in writing with a specific ordinance number. I don't appreciate your tone, Mr. Smith. Perhaps you'd prefer a community with looser standards. Click. And that right there is when I knew this wasn't about landscaping. This was about Karen deciding who belongs. The harassment started the next day. I'm loading my van, and there's Karen across the street, camera in hand, snapping pictures like she's building a case for The Hague. My van, my driveway, my wildflowers, even my mailbox. Just ensuring community compliance, she calls out fake friendly as ever. Every morning, the same routine. Sometimes she brings Mrs. Henderson from down the block who follows her around like a duckling. Riley starts calling it the mean lady stink cloud because Karen's perfume wafts over like a chemical weapon. But it wasn't just photos. She was building a case against my work van. Commercial vehicles are prohibited overnight, she announces one morning, pointing at my perfectly legal Ford Transit. I'd worked with enough lawyers to know enforcement has to be uniform. If Karen only goes after me, not her friends, she's in the wrong. So I start documenting security cams, up photos of every other driveway. Mrs. Garcia's got roses, Patels have a rock garden. Mrs. Henderson herself has decorative shrubs. Two can play the evidence game. Karen escalates, calls county code enforcement, says I'm running an unlicensed business out of my garage. One Tuesday, I come home to find a county inspector pacing my driveway, clipboard in hand. My stomach sinks. If she gets my contractor license suspended, I lose everything: Riley's college fund, the house, my entire life. I walk the inspector through my permits, my registration, my safety setup. He actually looks impressed. Honestly, Mr. Smith, this is one of the cleanest home businesses I've seen. Whoever's reporting you has called 4 times this week. That's personal, not regulatory. Smoking gun right there. This wasn't enforcement, it was harassment. That night, Riley asks why the mean lady keeps taking pictures and if we're in trouble. That's when it hits me. Karen isn't just going after my yard or my business, she's targeting me as a person. Time to get serious. Karen's next move. Next level petty. 2 weeks after the inspector leaves, I wake up to a diesel engine rumbling so hard my coffee nearly sloshes out of the cup. Not a normal work truck, this thing is a dump truck parked right in front of my house. Behind it, a bobcat on a trailer. Karen's out there, clipboard, work order, all official looking. Emergency authorization. We're improving the landscaping. Apparently her nephew's company won the contract. How convenient. Suddenly there's a parade of equipment, commercial mowers, wood chippers, trailers. The street sounds like a truck stop. The diesel fumes are so thick Mrs. Rodriguez, 2 houses down, starts having asthma attacks. Mr. Thompson, retired mechanic across the street, points out that a fire truck couldn't get past all this. I realize Karen's not just targeting me anymore, she's willing to make everyone miserable. So I start building alliances. Mrs. Rodriguez has been fighting a mailbox color violation. Thompson's fence is apparently the wrong shade of brown. 8 families meet up at Rodriguez Family Cafe, and sitting in those worn vinyl booths realize we're all being targeted. Next day, everyone at that meeting gets violation notices. Rodriguez's 15-year-old rose bushes are suddenly excessive decorative plants. Thompson's fence is now a code red. My wildflowers are declared a safety hazard. Then Karen goes nuclear. Rodriguez's Honda Civic is towed for being a commercial vehicle because it has a bumper sticker ad. Turns out Karen's nephew runs the towing company too. It's an extortion racket. That was the breaking point. Rodriguez, a grandmother who's lived here 20 years, crying on her own porch, "Nah, not on my watch." We weren't just fighting for ourselves anymore, we were fighting for the neighborhood. And we started investigating. Karen's blockade kept inching closer to my property, first the edge of my driveway, then right in front of my garage door. The equipment created a wall dump truck bobcat trailer. $18,000 of my tools. Completely trapped. I had a $12,000 job starting Monday now, impossible. Karen's timing was surgical. Here's the twist: Karen's emergency was an illegal move. Years ago, I'd wired an attorney friend's home and we'd talked about cases where people block access to someone's property. Turns out it's called false imprisonment of property, a real civil and criminal offense if you can prove intent. So I start calling board members. That's when Rish Patel, a software engineer on the board, drops a bomb. Karen's been making unilateral decisions. No meetings, no votes, just her. Oh, and her nephew's landscaping contract. Never reviewed, no competitive bids, totally illegal. Patel shares HOA incorporation docs. He got from the county with 51% of homeowner signatures. We can fire the board president. It's right there, page 47. But the next twist hits when my electrician buddy Jake tells me he worked on Karen's house last week. She's got a full illegal apartment in her converted garage. Bathroom, kitchen, everything. Rental income, no permits. While she's harassing me about flowers, she's running a black market rental. Time to fight smart. We organize. Mrs. Rodriguez's kitchen becomes our war room, the smell of churros fueling our petition drive. We hit houses. Karen targeted, gather signatures, document everything. Sarah Thompson, a local journalist and Mr. Thompson's daughter, starts digging. She uncovers forged HOA meeting minutes, double-billed landscaping HOA funds being used to pay Karen's legal fees. It's like pulling up a carpet and finding a nest of snakes. But Karen's not done. She hand-delivers property value warnings in the dead of night, threatens everyone's mortgage insurance, and adds more trucks to my driveway blockade. When I confront her, she's got a county inspector in tow claiming our meetings are illegal commercial activity. She's trying to get my business license suspended now. That's when Sarah uncovers the Peterson family. Karen offered to waive their HOA dues for 6 months if they'd sign a complaint against me. Bribery with text evidence. We reached 71 signatures over the required majority. And then out of nowhere, Mrs. Henderson, Karen's own sidekick, shows up shaking. Karen made me spy on you. She threatened to have my house condemned. Turns out even Karen's closest ally is a victim. The stage is set. Karen calls a press conference blaming outside agitators, but Sarah's camera catches her lying about embezzlement. The restraining order Karen filed against me expires at noon on Friday. At 12:15, county code enforcement arrives. Sheriff's deputy in tow. My garage is still blocked. Karen, grinning in victory, doesn't see what's coming. In front of the whole neighborhood, I call the sheriff, report the obstruction. Karen panics. I have emergency powers, but this time the law is on my side. Deputy Martinez issues the citation. County inspector announces an investigation into Karen's illegal rental. Sarah films as neighbors gather. Thompson hands Karen the removal petition. Patel announces she's being reported for embezzlement and fraud. As the county towing trucks haul away the blockade, I open my garage, fix the sabotage myself, of course. I am an electrician. The crowd laughs, relief finally settling in. Karen tries one last meltdown, screaming about conspiracies, but she's done. Her kingdom collapses in front of the whole street. That's not just karma, that's community justice. 6 months later, Pinewood Estates is transformed. Transparent HOA competitive bidding term limits a thriving community garden. My garage is the neighborhood workshop. Riley and I teach electrical safety. Mrs. Rodriguez makes tamales for half the block. Wildflowers fill the yards. The bees hum like little freedom fighters. Karen. She paid $43,000 in fines, lost her house to back taxes, and moved to a condo in Arizona. No HOA strict rules, and I hope a mirror. The real lesson power is not about who controls the rules. It's about neighbors looking out for each other. Karen thought she owned us. Turns out she never owned a thing. You can only serve a community or destroy it. We chose to serve, and it saved us. So what would you have done? Was it justice or just revenge? Where's the line between fighting back and becoming a bully yourself? Drop your best or worst HOA horror story in the comments. And let's talk about where real power should begin and end. Because if you ask me, the only power that matters is the one you build together.